Hi guys, video game viewer here bringing you the review of Darksiders 2. Darksiders 2 follows the exploits of Death, one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, in a weaving tale that runs parallel to the events in the original Darksiders game. This epic journey propels Death through various light and dark realms as he tries to redeem his brother War, the horseman who was blamed for prematurely starting the apocalypse in the original Darksiders. Darksiders 2 has its pros and its cons. We'll start with the pros here. Huge, vastly varied world to explore. Traversal and dungeon puzzles make excellent use of your tools. Fun combat links with a deep RPG. Memorable music and art design. Lots of replay value. Now the cons. Occasional uncooperative camera. Challenging gameplay will occasionally frustrate. Some RPG components and features could use better explanation. Darksiders 2 is definitely a deftly woven quilt, embroidered with killer ideas that integrate and complement one another within the larger whole. You'll settle comfortably into its warm embrace too, wrapping yourself in its deep lore and rewarding gameplay for a good 20 to 30 hours before you come up for air and decide to dive back in for more. Death's grand adventure picks up shortly after the events of Darksider. Humanity is lost, Earth is in ruins, and war is to blame for the widespread destruction. Death believes that his brother is blameless, and he knows that the only way to reverse the judgment of the Charred Council, mediators in the eternal struggle between heaven and hell, is to restore humanity, and the only way to do that involves visiting the Tree of Life. Like Darksiders before it, Darksiders 2 delivers a successful telling of its somewhat convoluted tale, thanks to its use of familiar iconograph. We're all acquainted with the riders of the apocalypse, with the idea of an afterlife and souls moving on, the war between heaven and hell. Even if you get mixed up on the fine details, the broad strokes are familiar enough to keep you excited about what's coming next. Credit goes as well to the solid voice performances throughout. There isn't any real standout performance, though Death has more personality than you might expect, but then the narrative isn't exactly heavy on pathos. This is an epic blockbuster story, and the scale of everything is suitably grand. The boys' performances fit into that perfectly. There may not be one that stands out, but that also means there's nothing that grates. Since we're talking about the presentation, I'll also take a moment to nod vigorously towards both the music and art design. Both do a complimentary job of capturing the aforementioned grand scale, and both stick in your brain even when you're not playing the game. On the gameplay side, Darksiders 2 essentially carries over everything that was excellent about the first game, mainly the Zelda-inspired approach to tools and unlocking the open world, while also adding an elaborate, yet accessible RPG progression mechanic. Death earns XP as he fights, and skill points as he levels up. The skill tree isn't vast, but it's large enough that you won't be able to unlock it all at the max level. This requires a choice. Do you spread out your points to become a Death of all trades, or do you specialize? If you specialize, are you more in favor of support-oriented abilities, or would you rather go for direct damage? Smartly, Vigil made your decision in the regard reversible, with the ability to spend a nominal amount of gold at a certain merchant on a respec. There's also a constant flood of loot filling the screen, ranging from plain white for vanilla garbage that isn't even worth selling, to the rare deep purple and the even rarer orange, a special possessed class of gear that you can upgrade by feeding it lesser gear. That's not even mentioning collectibles and other challenges, much of what is built around feeding you named unique items. You're seeing shades of Diablo's Loot Fest appeal? Then you're on the right track. All of this wraps around a combat system which, while challenging from beginning to end, even on the normal difficulty setting, is also immensely enjoyable. The basic button combo-oriented brawling of Darksiders returns, though the feel couldn't be more different in this sequel. Who would have thought that Death could be so lively? The scythe-wielding Soul Reaper is quicker on his feet than his lumbering bro. He can't block, but he can't dodge to and fro as attacks come in from all sides. Learning combos and making generous use of the dodge function is key. Try to get by on mashing buttons alone and you will fail, guaranteed. The execution here isn't perfect. For starters, the fiddly camera will often move around on its own accord, often positioning itself at the worst inconvenient of angles. This, coupled with the fact that there's no incoming attack indicator, means that you'll find yourself taking damage from enemies that you can't even see. Darksiders 2 has a stunning amount of content. Darksiders 2 feels like the sort of feature-packed RPG that gets marquee AAA treatment during the holiday season, and we're all blessed to have it now as a summer release. What better time to immerse yourself completely in fantasy world such as this one? The mix of ideas of playing Darksiders 2 could have turned out to be a disaster, but Vigil stitches it all together expertly, from the corrupt idyll of the Forge Lands, to the twilight expanses of the Land of the Dead, to the thin broken line between heaven and hell. Death's Grand Adventure ranks among the best we've seen or will see in 2012. It's not a perfect game, but it's a standout title for this year and is definitely worth checking out. I'm giving Darksiders 2 a 7.7. If you like what you saw here, don't forget to press that like button and clickety-click that subscribe button also. This has been the Video Game Viewer. Thanks for watching, and check back soon for all the latest video game news and reviews.